Culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. If you want to master the art of the firearm, then the place to go is Trigger Hill. Sometimes you had to shoot from the hip. You had to keep moving to avoid getting burned. Takes time to be a fast shot. Go figure. The Triggers, my brothers, bravest men I ever knew. I've asked a lot of the kid, but this is something he's done on his own. Takes a careful touch to rattle those bones like that. One thing's worse than the heat in Colford Cauldron. The smell, like rotten eggs. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. It's awful hot in there. Fault our people for their natural curiosity now, can you? Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. Taste the air so hot it sticks to your lungs. Sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. We kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. Place as inhospitable as they come. Still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Colford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Park. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. Where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. Marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now. At least it won't get cold around here with that thing around. On the inside, a fire bellows ain't nothing like its more popular air-spitting cousin. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. The memorial may be finished, but our part is far from over. The faith. Mother, this one's for you. Without an insulated air intake, that thing's liable to blow up on you. Now we're looking at some serious firepower. The city. Its riches, nothing but fragments now. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Welcome to Grady Incinerator, home of the hottest wings east of Ceylondia. In all seriousness, the incinerator was a dump, and it had a problem with peckers. Blasted things would swoop in and spread trash all around, until we started using fire. We couldn't just torch them all at once. We had to use restraint. Peckers were willing to fight tooth and nail for all that trash. You'd almost think those peckers like getting cooked. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tazzle terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Ceylondia. Her folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the Mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts. Learn more through music than history books. Gain a knack for strings and songs. She tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. take him to a family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. The young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language. Her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out.
Dig my hole, you build a wall. I dig my hole, you build a wall. One day that wall is gonna fall. Gonna build that city on a hill.
The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. And what's the use? It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals. They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal.
You build a wall. One day that wall is gonna fall. Build that city on a hill. Build that city on a hill. Someday those tears are gonna spill.
Knocks him into an uneasy sleep. What's he thinking? Let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Ceylondia. folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. Passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the Mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts, learned more through music than history books, gained a knack for strings and songs. First, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. Well, you know how it goes. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals.
You build a wall. I did my whole
They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal.
day that wall is gonna fall. Gonna build that city on a hill. Gonna build that city on a hill. Someday those tears are gonna spill. So build that wall and build it strong. We'll be there before too long. Gonna build that wall up to the sky. Gonna build that wall up to the sky. Someday your bird's gonna fly. Gonna build that wall until it's done. Gonna build that wall until it's done. But now you gotta hit and run. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there.
The plan almost succeeded, but the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. The young man had sent the authorities a tip, told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tassel terminals.
My home, you build a wall. In my home, you build a wall. One day that wall is gonna fall. Gonna build that city on a hill. Gonna build that city on a hill. Someday those tears are gonna spill. So
She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Return to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. What's the use? She did as she was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand. The next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. Folks say Mender mead's good for you. It's like an herb garden in full bloom. The conscience. We haven't lost everything, long as we have that. Can't rightly call Mount Zand a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. So they figure they'll hold out right here, on a slab of mountain the Calamity forgot. Ever see a kid with a musket and a fire bellows? Bit of a disturbing sight. The beasts of the wild came down from the mountains. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. So they figure they'll hold out right here, on a slab of mountain the Calamity forgot. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. Children into this. It's a delicate situation. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. Situation stinks. There's only one kind of mercy left these days. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. It takes a lot of convincing, and our mortals have to do the talking. Look at it this way, it's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. You don't need to keep tangling with all those things. Beasts of Mount Zan go all out. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete.